Welcome back, everybody, to Middle Management Gamer. Today's episode of Random Ranting Whilst Retro Gaming, we will be touching base with our old buddy Mario. And if you're not familiar with Super Mario Bros. 2, that is the game we'll be playing today. What you may or may not know about Super Mario Bros. 2 is it's not the original sequel to Super Mario Bros. There was a Super Mario Bros. 2 released in Japan that was basically just more of the same with the difficulty turned way up. I believe that was later released as the Lost Levels. What we ended up doing was taking a game called Yumikojo Doki Doki Panic and doing a palette swap so that the characters on there matched up with Super Mario Bros. That way, people in America and Europe would get to play a game that was Super Mario based, but had this interesting storyline that they didn't feel would sell too well here in America. I guess. I'm kind of conjecturing there. But anyway, you may say, but Mr. Manager, sir, what does any of this have to do with restaurant work? Well, the cool thing about Super Mario Bros. 2 is there were different characters you could select. And different characters have different abilities. And that brings us to the restaurant industry. So, coming up, we have an event at my restaurant, one that is super busy and requires us to staff pretty much everybody I have on hand for this one particular day, just due to the massive amount of business. But if you ever worked in a restaurant and it's been a holiday or an event, you have to have everybody staffed. Maybe it's Mother's Day, maybe you have to get that Mother's Day mentality, or maybe it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm dressed green for the celebration of St. Patrick coming up, which I'm super excited about. I love corned beef and cabbage and all that stuff. Not big into the heavy drinking, but corned beef and cabbage at a restaurant, always fun. But that's not the event we're celebrating. Anyway, I had to schedule my entire staff, for the most part. Which means putting all of those different people into position. So, like I said, in this game, each character has a different trait. Now, you've got the princess. She is able to levitate, which gives her the long distance jumps, which comes in handy if you have a stage with lots of hits, or you need to make a really long jump at height. Toad is capable of picking objects up very quickly. Oh, did I mention the princess is very slow about picking up objects? That's where Toad comes in. However, Toad can't jump. Luigi jumps very high and very far, and picks up relatively faster than the princess, but slower than the Toad. And then Mario. Mario's a steady Eddie. I'll get back to that later. Mario's good at just about everything, but he's not great at anything. He jumps well, he picks up well, he's got a good distance, and he runs pretty fast. I never picked Mario when I'm playing this game. So in the restaurant industry, there's all sorts of different personality types or skill sets. And that's what we're talking about today. Because when you have a super event, you need all your staff on, you have to have all your aces in your places. Not everybody can be an ace. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to pick Toad. I like Toad because he picks up items fast. Right off at the beginning of the game, you want to pick up items fast. So getting back to the restaurant, the first, real person you're going to run into in a restaurant is normally a host or a hostess or a greeter. And normally the person who's in this role is what I like to call the politician. The politician is great. They're out there shaking hands and kissing babies. They remember every guest that walks in. It may not be a host. It could be a manager. You could be walking around the dining room talking. But the politicians, they're the ones that really drive your hospitality because, Bobby Sue walks into the restaurant and the politician remembers that Bobby Sue has a daughter who goes to this school and was here last week and orders this food. They're going to communicate all that to the server and make sure they have a good time. So, that's the politician. You may have a different name for it. You may call it the governor, the mayor, or just a hospitality person. I don't know. I have nicknames for all these because I think it's fun. Anywho, the next position, or the next personality that you run into in the restaurant industry is the steady Eddie. These are your, basically, not great at anything, but work at a steady pace, non-stop, without tiring or getting frustrated. Normally you'll see a lot of steady eddies in the dish room, or fussing table, or just doing some sort of task that doesn't require a lot of skill. Not to say the dish doesn't require skill. There are great dishwashers and crap dishwashers out there. But the steady eddy is good at working long periods of time without getting tired. And dish is one of those monotonous positions that requires this skill set. So that's your steady eddy. They're useful in other positions too, but typically you'll see them on the line or in the dish room. After that, we have what we call bodies. I kind of skipped ahead of bodies because originally I was going to talk about bodies last, but I changed my setup here just because that's the way my brain works. I'm going off script here. Your bodies. So if you have worked in a restaurant, sometimes you can't schedule your best people. So you just schedule a lot of bodies. Because if you put enough bodies in position, they can handle whatever's thrown at them. It's kind of like ants. They're not big, but a whole bunch of ants will take down something much, much bigger than it. That's your bodies. They're not great. They may even suck. But you have enough of them, they'll take care of business. I feel bad because on a day that we have come up, I do have a lot of bodies being scheduled. And that's because we're learning how to be better in the restaurant industry. Our particular restaurant has a lot of younger, newer to the restaurant industry, so they may be bodies because they haven't learned the skill. It's not necessarily their fault. Sometimes you have bodies that just won't ever get better. They'll always suck. They'll be bad at whatever job they're in, so they're just kind of stuck in the restaurant industry, and they always will be. Or, clean up, janitorial. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that. Super important, super good janitorial people out there that make the world go round. We need them. It's a super important position. I'm not on a high horse here. Just to let you know. In the restaurant business, we do a lot of janitorial work too. So so far we have the politician, the steady eddy, and bodies. If you don't know what position you fall in, or you don't know what your skill set is, you might be a body. The next person is the comedian. Again, this is a position that may not have a lot of skill, but they are essential in the restaurant industry. What the comedian does is they liven the mood. They keep everybody happy. They're not necessarily telling jokes, and I just call them a comedian because, we like to have a good time. We like to tell jokes, and that's how we keep each other happy. But sometimes it's somebody who just has politician-style experience. They're good at, complimenting people, making them feel good about themselves. This could be a manager. This could be a shift leader. This could just be somebody who is good at their job and has time to motivate other people around them. But again, sometimes you just have the comic relief there, and they're just keeping everybody else happy. Sometimes managers have comedian skill set. They like to tell dad jokes in my situation. I tell dad jokes, but I'm not a dad. That makes me a faux pas. After the comedian is I need to pay attention to this. This is how you get extra mint. This is one of the reasons why I play with Toad at the beginning, is to get a lot of extra coins, but I just kind of wasted them. Anyway, the next position is the brain. The brain is the man with the plan. It doesn't necessarily have to be a manager. Managers do a lot of planning and try to set up shifts for success and write a schedule and get everything set up and put the right people in the right place, aces in their places. But it doesn't have to be a manager. Sometimes the brain is just somebody who knows more than anybody else about a specific position. Can I make it? Can I make it? Nope, I can't make it. I messed up. I will try it. That's okay. So you pick it up pretty fast. Can I get into the secret passageway? Is there a secret passageway here? Nope, no secret passage right here. I messed up. Alright. So it's been a long time since I played this game. I don't remember all the clues and all the secrets, but we'll get there. Sorry, I had to pay attention. Lost track of what was going on. Anyway, the brain. Planning all the important stuff that you need to know so you can be set up for success. They're not necessarily thinkers. They just are capable of staying organized, keeping everybody where they need to be so they can do what they need to do to be successful. Sometimes the brain is a battlefield commander. That's the next one. I oftentimes fall into the battlefield commander role. This is your manager, this is your leader that leads from the front lines. Some of your higher-ups don't like managers that use this skill set because they should be staying above the trees. Staying above the trees is important. It allows you to see other issues and stuff like that. Your battlefield commander may get stuck in a position helping everybody else, but they're leading from that line. So if you're going to be a battlefield commander, make sure you pick a place where you can see everything. You want to be on top of a hill. So if you're working the battlefield from the grill line, or you're working it from the make line, or the bar, make sure you can see what your servers are doing. Make sure you can see what, your host is doing. Is there a line at the front door? But you're inspiring the troops. You may be an ace in the particular position that you are battlefield commanding from. The next position I also think of as a manager position, but again, it doesn't have to be. This is your triage. So your triage is the guy in the restaurant who can walk into a disaster. 30-minute tickets, kitchen is falling apart, there's blood on the walls, the ceiling's on fire, and everything's caving in around you. Triage knows where to go, who to put where to make sure you can dig out of this mess. They're capable of picking the dig points. So, again, managers fall into this role sometimes, but it could be a really good shift leader. It could be your best grill cook or your best server who knows where they need to put all the various people in what position to get through. They get in, they fix the problem, they get back out. Triage. And then the next position is the cleaner. The cleaner, well, it's important in the restaurant industry that you stay clean. That you don't have debris everywhere. You want to have a high level of food safety and sanitation. Super important because you don't want your guests to get sick. What the cleaner is good at is making sure the restaurant stays clean throughout the business. Believe it or not, some people are really good at cooking and taking care of guests, but can't clean worth a daggone. They just don't have it in them. Or their standards of cleanliness aren't as high as they need to be to maintain the quality the restaurant needs. So that's where the cleaner comes in. They're good at hiking up those rubber gloves, getting everything clean. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a dishwasher. It could be your best closing grill cook. They're the person that you bring in that can handle the rush at the end of the night, and then they close to make sure the restaurant looks good in the morning so you can start the process over again. So far we have the politician, the steady Eddie, bodies, the comedian, the brain, the battlefield commander, the triage, the cleaner, and then last but not least, the real subject of the video today, the ace. So you ever heard the term aces in the places? That's, I don't know if it's just a restaurant thing or if it's a sports thing before it was a restaurant thing. Who knows? I picked it up in the restaurant. Aces in the places means setting up the restaurant or the playing field so that you have your best people in their best position. Now, that doesn't mean that the ace is your best employee. They may just be the best at that particular position. Like, I was really good at grill. I consider myself overall a really great employee, pretty good at everything. There's some positions that I'm a steady Eddie at. I can wash dishes for hours and not get tired. Bussing tables, I did a lot of table bussing in my younger years, because I could just carry around that bus tub. But my ace position was grill line. So, you know, when I'm a battlefield commander, that's where I go. I don't have the key. I can't seem to find the key for anything. All these doors are locked. There's secret passages. I am no longer as good at this game as I used to be. If you've never played Super Mario 2, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of nuanced things you can do that make the game fun. Where was I? I digress. The ace, again. You may suck really bad at some positions. And be an ace in only one. Some people are not an ace in any position. They're just not very good. They may be bodies for the rest of their life. I have people who are aces at, like I said, grill like I am, but horrible at host. I can't host to save my life. Not very good at seating in rotation, not double, triple seating people. I was throw everybody at the dining room all at once, wave the kitchen, and then run back there and help them get the food out, turn, get us off the wait, get everybody out the building, save labor, etc., so forth. That's kind of how I ran the host position, which is horrible. That's not what you want to do. So again, aces aren't necessarily great at everything. They're really good at one position, and aces in their places is meaning make sure that you have everybody in their one position. So when you get into, you know, hectic business that hits the shan situation, they're capable of handling what needs to be handled so everything runs smooth. You want to have an ace host in position so that you don't wave your dining room like I would if I was a host. You want to have your, you know, ace grill cook or ace server in place. So if you do have to double, triple seat somebody because, well, the guests don't want to go to that table that you want to sit at. Oh, I set the table over by the window. Well, at that situation, you just double set that server. So you need servers who can handle the double seat. You want to have all your ace servers on the floor when you can. And then when that server double, triple rings the kitchen, you want to have your ace grill cook in position. And you want to have your ace dishwasher in position so that they can handle all the dishes and make sure that the dishes are getting run to the particular person who needs it so the guests are taken care of. Super important you have all these things in place. Aces in the places is key. So again, if you're not sure which one of these roles you fell into, you might be the body. That's okay. We need bodies. Every restaurant needs bodies to be successful. It's one of the reasons why the restaurant industry is struggling right now is because we don't have enough bodies to fill positions, and it's hard to get people staffed. Money's tight. Restaurants need to stay, well, they need to stay profitable. So with food costs the way it is, it's hard. You can't pay everybody what you need to, and some people just don't want to do the work because of that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't fault them. Ah, crap! I died. Can't believe I made it that far in like first time in 20 years and just now died. That's alright. Anyway, I hope you have a better understanding of the restaurant roles as I see them. Some of this is for comedic reasons, I'm not trying to insult anybody. Again, there were times when I was a body, there's times when I was comedian, the comic relief, making sure everybody's having a good time. Ooh! Mouser! Having a hard time. Anyway, thanks for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed my brief playthrough of Super Mario Bros. 2. And again, I hope you enjoyed our restaurant rant for the day. And I hope that anybody who is watching this realizes, if they work in my restaurant, why they may not necessarily be in the position they want during our upcoming event. It may be because we don't want them there, we need them somewhere else. Or if they're in a position they don't like, And we understand that they may not necessarily want to work there, but we need them there. And every one of you, I care greatly about you. Every single one of you, even the bodies, just kidding, are super important to the success of our restaurant. And, you know, we're going to make it through this upcoming event. You know it, I know it. We're going to have a smooth shift. It's going to be great. I love you all. Thank you. Have a good day.